Hey guys, it's me, Mario. Today we're going to continue Tusk, the Mighty Mammoth. How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well. Let's get started on Chapter 3, An Impossible Choice. Let me turn down the music. It always seems a bit too loud when I start the video. An impossible choice. Tom ran back to where Elenna was hanging. The long snake fern had reeled her right into the treetops, pulling her up far above his head. She was dangling upside down, squirming and twisting as she tried desperately to get free. Tom came to a halt beneath her, staring up in alarm. "Don't worry," he called up. "I'll get you down. Are you all right?" "I'm not hurt," Elenna gasped, her face red and her eyes bulging. "The horrible thing took me by surprise, that's all." A snake fern spooled down towards Tom like a long, thin tongue, its end twitching. Tom swung his sword at the evil plant, cutting through it. Green sap sprayed out as the fern pulled away from him, writhing as it retreated back into the treetops. There was no time to lose. "Grab my hand," Tom called as he sprung upwards, using the power of the magical golden boots to propel him through the air. He managed to catch hold of Elenna's hands, but almost immediately she let out a piercing yell. "It's not going to work," she cried. "The ferns are tightening around my legs. They won't let go." Tom hung from her grip, watching in dismay as a long tendril of snake fern came creeping down Elenna's body and coiled itself around her neck. He swung his legs, desperately hoping that their combined weight would rip Elenna loose from the ferns. "Tom, don't!" Elenna choked as the fern gripped harder around her neck. "It's strangling me. Let go, please." Reluctantly, Tom released Elena's hands and dropped down to the ground. Elenna brought her hands up to her throat and forced her fingers under the tightening fern, pulling at it and gasping for breath. Bad. Tom stared up at her. What could he do now, even with the power of the magical boots? He couldn't leap high enough to cut through the ferns that were holding her. The heavy footsteps were still booming through the forest, making the ground shake. Inferno's voice was still calling weakly in Tom's head. He had to think quickly. "I'll throw you my sword," Tom called up to Elenna. "Then you can cut the ferns." "No," Elenna gasped. "If I let go of the fern around my neck, it'll throttle me before I can cut myself free. I'm all right for the moment. Go and save Fern now." Tom hated the thought of leaving Elenna in such danger. If only Silver were here, he could send the loyal wolf in search of Ferna while he helped his friend. As Tom hesitated, the dragon's voice grew louder in his mind, and the booming footsteps shook the trees around him. The footsteps are getting closer, Elenna called down. Tom, go and find Ferno, quickly. I'll be back as soon as possible, called Tom. Hold on, Elenna. Come on, boy. He leaped into Storm's saddle and urged the brave horse through the trees, towards the cry of the dragon. Tom kept his sword ready, hacking and slashing at any ferns that came too close. The wicked plants moved away from him as he rode past, and then closed in again behind him. Tom knew that without his sword, the ferns would have swarmed over him by now. Finally, he saw Ferno through the trees. The great dragon was huddled against a trunk, snake ferns coiled all around his body, and so that he could hardly move. He looked exhausted. The evil tendrils were tearing at his scales and twisting around his limbs and wings. But at least he was alive. Ferno lifted his head as he caught sight of Tom, and feeble puffs of gray smoke wafted from his nostrils. He can't breathe fire, Tom gasped into himself. The good beast was helpless. I'll save you, he shouted, brandishing his sword. Come on, Storm. The stallion neighed and plunged forwards. Soon Tom's bright blade would be hacked through those deadly plants, and Ferno would be free. But then a vast shape came smashing out of the trees to their left. At first, all Tom saw were flying branches and whole trees uprooted and thrown through the air. Then, lunging through the chaos, came the most immense beast Tom had ever seen. Tusk, the mighty mammoth, came thundering forwards, her huge trunk lifted as she roared, her feet crushing everything in her path. The evil beast was heading directly towards them. That was chapter 3. An impossible choice. This book wastes no time introducing the beast. Wastes no time at all. Already in chapter 3. And he's about to fight her. But yeah. It's only 9 minutes? Huh, interesting. I read fast. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this read-through of Tusk, the Mighty Mammoth. And I think this has 9 or 10. It says 10 chapters, so 2 more chapters and we're halfway through. But if that makes any sort of sense, I'm mumbling at this point. I shouldn't mumble at the end of these. Hope you guys like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you guys are interested in more Beast Quest videos. Alright, see ya!